Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Instant Action. Brentford won at the Emirates Stadium in another scintillating episode of Arsenal's 24-25 Premier League campaign, in another scintillating episode of this title race. Oh, I don't think there is a single person in the Arsenal fan base who would not click sim to end of this season if they could.
I was just going to make a sim joke. This is one of those instant reactions you want to sim. Does anybody want to come on? Anybody want to?
Anyone want to do it?
Have a go.
Do a George impression. Do a me impression. Oh my gilly goodness.
Yeah, it was difficult. I feel like it was one of those performances. I mean, look, the lineup said it all, didn't it? Right? Like, as far as the rotation that we've got in there, and I found it quite funny that at the beginning we seemed to be going quite long, quite early to like Trossard and Zinchenko as like the front two.
Prep which from Marino.
Yeah. Very. at least Raya was prepping. But you know what? Look, there was some. There was like one performance I was actually very impressed with. Saliba was incredible today. Saliba was
like most big chances created and most duels won or something, and most touches. Like, he was insane.
Made that pass that he made for Martinelli in the first half, that gets him in on goal. It's a brilliant recovery tackle by Ayer. Was incredible. I think he can do that a lot more in general, in terms of just, I don't know. I felt like he was kind of, he was taking.
Up. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Literally. But no, he was taking a lot of ownership. And I mean, look, he's been brilliant for a while now. But it's just, I thought in this game he really shone. There was a lot of onus he took in terms of trying to get us up the pitch. I thought Thomas Partey actually had a good performance at right back as well. And David Raya also was quite insistent on playing through, even for the goal, as far as just really getting us going. When we did have a turnover, he was very insistent on kind of getting the ball quick into play. But other than that, mate, like it was a struggle to kind of see. And I was just kind of saying, look, let's get through this without any major injuries and make sure that we're going to try to get ourselves prepped for Tuesday, which I think is a little bit where the club's mind is at in general.
You reckon? It was like ChatGPT designed me a game between two teams, one who is safe from relegation, one who is not winning a title, and is in between two massive European games. Like it was exactly that. And look, I think I said after the Everton game, like I don't know how angry I think it's difficult to say how angry I am about that. It will depend on the Champions League. I think the problem with playing like this and putting that level of performance in, because realistically, I don't know if anyone else felt this. I felt not that the players aren't trying, but they're not willing to risk anything, because why would you? Because there's nothing to risk it for. So I do get it, and I'm not just talking physically as well. I'm talking, putting the ball at risk, doing things that are gonna cause them to basically turn over and run over their shoulder, and that's fine if the Champions League gamble pays off. If that works. If it doesn't, oh my goodness me! If we go out, this game, the Everton game, and probably the next few games of the Premier League, I will be raging about. And I'm like, okay, but
it was odd. Like, I felt like even though we went with a rotated 11, even in the first half, I think the team did a pretty good job as far as actually taking possession of the ball and actually taking the game to Brentford, of all things. Like, I was kind of confused, in which I'm like, okay, look, Arsenal have clearly rotated. We're looking to try to get this for an easy 1-0 if we can. But Brentford, they were very defensive in this match, and paid us a lot of respect. And I thought in the first half we actually played a little bit better. I thought I was a little bit more annoyed, if anything, in the second half. Like, oddly, when the changes came to get our first team minutes in prep for Madrid, I actually thought that we were a little bit worse as far as what we were able to do, and the game actually became a little bit more stretched, a couple more transitions. And of course, I think once you remove Declan Rice from that engine room, you lose two players immediately as far as your ability to really spring. And so we struggled in that sense. But as a whole, the only frustration maybe I had really in the first half was not getting Ethan involved more on the pitch. There was definitely moments when him and Zinchenko were kind of overlapping into each other. And I think that's just coming from a chemistry perspective. And to be honest with you, Ethan is striking me a bit where he wants to get involved too much and he's too enthusiastic and he is a little bit attracted to the ball. Like he needs to almost hold his position a bit and trust the ball's going to get to him. Because right now I think he's searching for the ball a little bit more. And he's searching to try to do and put a little bit more impact, which I like. It's about taking initiative because there's not many players in the squad that are doing it. But I think it's going a little bit more to his detriment. He's got to learn a little bit to stay wide, let the ball come to him, and work the angles a little bit more. But
I don't think it's a coincidence to me that the players who, apart from probably Saliba, I mean Rice, to be fair as well, he was floating today. I mean, especially in the first half. Probably the players with a bit more to prove were a little bit better, maybe in that first half in terms of the Waneris and maybe the Zinchenkos and the Trossards, players who maybe are still slightly vying for it. But I felt, I felt there was a lot of coasting going on. This is what it's done to the Premier League table. Arsenal are 63, so 10 points behind Liverpool, so we could go 13 behind Liverpool if they win tomorrow. We are still 6 clear of Nottingham Forest. So yeah, them losing is done as a favour. But yeah, I just felt it was a very look. I will say from an analytical perspective, in terms of the midfield, I liked what having players who can receive ahead of the ball and take it on the half turn and like receiving those central pockets did to us. I think that adds a different dimension to us, makes us more interesting to watch. I agree probably with your analysis of one area. I think he's just trying a little bit too hard. And you could tell he was frustrated when he came off. Saliba and Rice, I think for me it was more the freedom they were playing with than anything. I think we're seeing levels, and that's if we can package that freedom and put it in the structure that we've had when we're playing well, then fantastic. But yeah, especially in that second half, I just really felt it was a team ready for the season to end, and a fan base and a stadium ready for the season to end. We've got 6 games left. I can't see us getting much past 75, 76 points. And fine, get second, win the Champions League. Hey presto, we're home and dry.
Yeah, it's a lot of this is putting your hopes on something else, and I think we have something to play for in another sense, and there's other things that we don't have very much to play for. I when I look at these kind of performances, the one thing that I'm okay with at the very least was that there was a willingness to keep possession and at least try to maintain our principles with so many changes. And so that's kind of what I draw a benefit to, especially with the raft of changes that you're doing. It's very easy to go into something and play that the first team wouldn't do. And I don't think I saw that. Like, again, ironically, I felt that the first team subs played worse than the second team.
They just have less to prove. I think that's what I'm saying. It's just I just don't. They're just getting their minutes in for Madrid. That's all they're doing.
Yes, very much so. But I will insist. Like, I was really. I don't know. Saliba should deserve his own section. That's probably the only one that we can maybe section in this game, because I have been asking for Saliba, in my opinion, to show more. In my opinion, he has given us the tip of the iceberg as far as what I see as a progressive monster. There, and especially in the passing, like he was really doing a good job about getting us into positions of danger. And then when everybody else wasn't moving, he said, screw it, I'm going to take it into midfield and I'm going to force the issue. The amount of times that he would press bait to allow the opposition to get right near him before releasing the pass, maybe holding on to it, it's a level of comfortability that I think goes a little bit just taken for granted, to be honest with you. Like, when we start talking about it, a lot of times there's this whole debate about who's our best center back, and they're both brilliant, and they're both incredible, but neither can do what the other can do. Gabriel will never be able to do what Saliba did in this performance, and I don't think Saliba will ever have as dominant of a defensive display that Gabriel will be able to show. But when I have a look at what the next step of Arsenal is, and I have a look at maybe a back line in which we've got somebody right now that is a +1 in possession. And what I mean by that is, it's not just somebody that is, being a quarterback, but actually taking the initiative to drive into midfield, to put layoffs, to go and fire a ball into our striker that has a shot in the penalty box. Like, those are things from center back that you don't account for in a coach's playbook. In an opposition playbook, you don't account for Saliba doing what he did to give Martinelli that chance. And by the way, bar Ayer, that would have been a phenomenal goal. We would be talking on here, waxing lyrical about what kind of a play that was. So, yeah, as a whole, I just felt like he has been bubbling himself. He is the one, I think, due a standout moment. Mate, like Saka's been doing this from the beginning of the season. Rice has had his moment in the quarterfinal. I really feel Saliba is going to give us something very special across this campaign.
Little header at the Bernabeu. Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all with that analysis. I think maybe the only place I differ is the reason, and I don't think it comes from Saliba desperate to win this game. I think it comes from the freedom knowing that this competition is done. I really don't think that's where it comes from, and I think that's kind of been my analysis of a lot of Arsenal this season, is that we feel like we're one game away from crisis. So when we're basically one game away, we could have lost this game, and it doesn't change. Whatever happens today, it does not change the Premier League title. It doesn't matter. So if we can capture that freedom and play with that a little bit more with certain players, I think that's maybe the one thing we can take from today. Let's have a look at the stats if we want to. 1 goal to 1, 0.9 expected goals to 0.3, 14 shots to 3, 3 on target to their 2, 9 open play shots to their 1, 63.7% possession to their 2, to their 36.3, 508 passes completed to their 20.
Say the one stat I care about.
89. It's coming, baby. Zone 14 touches. Another positive aspect of today. I asked Scott Willis to do the guy who does these stats to do. You know that was another video. I asked Scott to do me like a rolling Zone 14 touch average for Arsenal, because I think it's gone up towards the end of the season. I think generally, and I think it's gone up, but I'd love to see the data back it up. I think we're playing, especially in the Premier League, with more freedom. I think Martinelli's playing with more freedom. I think Miles is playing with more freedom. I think we saw today Saliba and Rice playing with more freedom. It's more the decision-making on the ball and less possession or decision-making sort of in terms of positioning. I think the willingness to put the ball at risk and in the first half, especially, as I said in the second half, I think people just thought whatever, but especially in the first half, I think has gone up, which is quite exciting. And as I say, if we can capture that when there's actually something at play, then great. There's the running XG in the first and second half. There's the shot map for all you nerds, if you actually care. And there's the beautiful, the radiant. I'd say it looks like a Real Madrid Champions League second side win, doesn't it? I think that's what that looks like. As Scott says there, bigger fish to fry masterclass. Absolutely. We had a super chat from Ugi who says Kiwior actually looked great today. Well tested. I agree with this. Again, I think maybe going back to my theme of the game, I think the pressure slightly being off, I think he found himself a little bit. I think there was a smoothness in his possession work that I really liked when he was receiving it. He looks a lot more at the moment like a kind of fullback playing inside than a sort of stodgy centre back who plays out wide. He's looking really, really smooth. Might have even lowered his socks as well, which I think has helped. But yeah, I thought he looked great, and I think physically he's starting to grow into the game. He's communicating a lot more than he used to. If you go back and watch a Kiwior game from when he first comes in, he doesn't say a word, and now he's talking all the time. So yeah, really, really pleased with Kiwior. And I go into the Bernabeu. Obviously, I would have wanted Gabriel, but a lot happier than maybe 2 weeks ago with that prospect.
He's got minutes in him. I was more worried about the Madrid game as far as being one of his bigger nights, but after having a couple games on the bounce, I think this is a guy that has got minutes in him, so he looks better. The so-called jump on Mbappe is a result of him, by the way, not playing. I don't think it's because it's Kiwior's really bad, but that first moment is okay. Here's match kind of fitness, which you can't replicate in training. And he definitely is having some confidence. And, I would go as far to say he does give us something in possession. Like, the whole thing with Kiwior is we're at a point in the squad that a player that is meh is very good. Yeah. And I think this gets lost in translation a bit. Like, when you criticize a player, there's this defense as far as saying, what are you talking about? They're very good. Yeah, they are very good. But the level, like 2025 Arsenal is not 2021 Arsenal, right? And so from that perspective, I think, he's been really good. He stepped up, and not a lot of players can come in, by the way. So he does deserve praise on an individual level. To come into a team that's competing like this against the type of teams that he's had to compete with and still done well is an added, I think, individual pro to Kiwior. And regardless of what happens, by the way, and if he does stay with the squad or not, I don't think he will. But even as far as him moving on, I don't think he goes to some poor team. Like, I think there will be some serious teams like at AC Milan,
Brentford.
somewhere in Serie A.
Like a mid-table Premier League team would lap him up.
Yeah,
I think he could go higher, though. I'm not saying you couldn't.
Yeah, like I think he's a great Bundesliga potential player as well. As far as playing those high lines, I think that's something he can do. I think as far as the Serie A is something that he can do as well. He is a player that I do think needs minutes, though, and he is slow, right? In terms of, I think the first couple games that he has are always a little bit. He's that kind of player that needs to play 3 or 4 before he gets into a rhythm. And I think once he's in a rhythm, I'm quite happy with, like, I'd say 75% of things that he does. And so, yeah, I think Kiwior was very good today.
Yes. Scott has come through with the stuff I was looking for. And George, my hunch was right. This is something we've spoken about before, right? In terms of, again, we're very hot on the narratives because we think about it all the time. But in terms of so this is the 10-match moving average of Zone 14 touches for Arsenal. And I think there was a thing at the beginning of the season about how Arsenal never accessed the centre, and that was correct. But we were still talking about it about here. And I think we've done better and better and better over the course of the season in terms of accessing the centre of the pitch. And that shows it. This is over the last 3 seasons.
So I've had this thing, and I think I've said it on the pod before, since like the last Everton game. Not April 5th, by the way, the one earlier in the season in December. I felt like we have slowly started to increase our Zone 14 touches. And almost tracks beautifully. Like, I mean, if you go back to December 14th, which is like match week 18 or something, it's kind of the first spike of that Zone 14 touch on that hill there. So I think that this idea that Arsenal and the chance creation, I've been wanting to have a conversation on it, generally speaking, for a while, because I think it's been improving for quite a bit. And it's nice to see, mate, because I think genuinely, as we're going into the Champions League and we're looking at this becoming an objective, we're going to get moments that we're going to have to face a team that are going to have to sit in at some point. It's going to happen, and we're going to have central solutions. And the one thing I want to end on really about today is, mate, we scored a transition. I can't not talk about transition inevitability as your little duo bingo there, because that was phenomenal. It was the delay by Raya was incredible, and the patience by Rice in terms of making the pass when he needed to, the release is the right decision. We don't do that enough in transition. And it was really nice to see Thomas Partey with a smart finish, who, by the way, again, like I said earlier in the pod, I thought he had a really good game at right back. Been having good games for the last couple of weeks, to be honest, is in form, which is really important. But just that transition in terms of us being able to transition in 10 seconds or less, going from one end of the pitch to the other end, is going to be something that we're going to need in the Champions League. And by the way, something at the Bernabeu, I can foresee us really needing a period whilst we're sitting and soaking up pressure to really transition quick. So we're going to need to see a little bit more of that.
Yep, for sure. Let's come to your questions. Let's make this more interactive, IR, considering no one wants to talk about the football. I will say, okay, let's just do as many positives as we can to take out that game. No injuries.
Yeah,
no injuries. Some good minutes and legs ahead of Madrid. The stadium didn't fall down. We practiced playing with 10 men again. That's exciting. There is the only way this league season, in terms of variance, makes sense is if next season, like, corner goals count for 2, or we're getting like I don't know, we're playing with 12 players or something from next season. We're allowed, no one else is. The variance in this season, in this league season, has just been it's not hit us in the Champions League. This is the weird thing. It's like, and I'm sorry to put that out there, but honestly, in this league season has been just crazy. And Jorginho, oh yeah, people say, no injuries and Jorginho's out, so there you go. But at least no one who's gonna actually play on Wednesday. Yash Singh says White has gone from I don't watch football to I don't play football. Yes, there was an update from Arsenal, from Mikel Arteta earlier on about Ben White. Let me just find it. Basically, he felt something in training. Let me try and find it for you. Here it is. It's just Ben White misses out. Where was it?
Well, I think he said something along the lines of that he had a knock in training, right? It was kind of that.
Basically. What did he say? I can't find it. Yeah, basically he said that there was a knock, which is a shame, but hopefully he's back for Wednesday. Wonder what's missing. Oh wait, PGMOL. Denny says proof that Rice is world class for me is that we always stand a chance of winning when he's inside. Yeah, I have to say, again, on this theme of freedom, I did feel he was playing with a lot of freedom today. Physically, after putting in that performance at the Bernabeu, if we'd won today, I would have been all on his case of wow, like in terms of the running performance. A couple of days later, this guy physically is a freak. He's a freak.
Mate, I know that we worry an injury as a PTSD after what we've done this season, but genuinely, when you're in a moment like that, as a player, you must be high on adrenaline. Like, how much were we refreshing the highlights? I guarantee you, somebody like Declan wanted to be on the pitch immediately because he's just feeling in a moment of utter confidence that I think that it's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the fandom because you're so worried about injuries and protection and what we've gone through. That this idea about rest versus not rest and why is he not in the rested group of players? There are players that need to play. Like, everybody is very different, and I do think he's one of those players that if Declan Rice is out long, he takes a while to get back up, even as far as preseason. Yeah. But once he's going, takes off, never injured. You need to play him. He needs the minutes to do well. Otherwise, you risk making him icy and then potentially having an injury later. So again, for me, filled with running power. Had a really cute pass in the second half before he gets taken off too, by the way, where he was a little bit feeling himself, I think, with the little jink Travella to try to slip in Martinelli. And he's getting a bit more confident as far as trying to show that technique. And yeah, I mean, he took a step forward, I think, not just in an Arsenal shirt, but just in his career. Like, that's a moment when you do 2 free kicks like that. You look back on your career and you say, well, I scored twice in a quarterfinal, like that's a big moment in the career, So it was definitely ice cold from Declan Rice.
Milo Haynes says if Declan was born 200 years ago, he would be a world-class potato farm plower.
Wow. Okay. The nickname the horse, right?
That's he would be. To be fair, we can't deny that. Rice was high off those Instagram reels. Mate, the Arsenal media team has been cooking. Nathan says, what happened to Sterling? Has he fully decided to stay at home now? Yeah, I mean, again, Sterling not getting minutes in a game like this.
It's typical. It's typical, isn't it?
City, thank you so much for the super chat. Very kind. Lots of people wanting us to talk about Martin Ødegaard. Thoughts on that performance today? I actually thought Ødegaard was all right today. I didn't have major problems with him. My major problems with him are the problems I've had all season. It wasn't the performance today didn't inspire anything particularly for me.
Yeah, I think he is a hot topic, and unless he scores a goal, he will be talked about. But as far as this cameo, I thought it was more than fine. There was nothing that I thought that was an issue. And the team, that entire injury, 3 or 4 players that were trying to be protected from injury that came in, all had, I would say, fairly meh games. Yeah. I did think Saka did look good. I mean, he always looks good. So it's really unique to compare it to a player like that. But look, I think Martin Ødegaard was more than fine in that cameo. There was nothing that I was looking at. And I don't think he had as many of those transition opportunities that he didn't play in. Like, he was just playing with possession. Again, I think people want him to be something he isn't. They're fed up in that sense. It's gone so far overboard from the Ødegaard discussion that it's gone to the point of, okay, even as somebody that has criticized Martin Ødegaard, right? And we've done scouteds to have a look at it. So there are limits to him. I think it's gone much more overboard, where it's gone to the point of, okay, I recognize that I want something different, but I'm going to blame you, Ødegaard, for not being that different person. And that's where I'm a little bit, whoa. Like, I got criticisms, but don't put me there. Like, we've got to be a bit more understanding of maybe criticizing Mikel if that's what you want. And you're not seeing that. For example, I'll take the Ethan points. I don't like how Ethan's being used. I do think he needs to hold his position, go wide, and if he's playing right wing, he needs to wait for the ball to come to him. However, I would rather him be inside, general. But who do you put on the outside? I mean, you can't put Thomas Partey out there. I mean, White is injured, and so you're in a position where we're putting somebody that we know is learning, has trouble with that, but the usage and maybe critiquing what we might want in that position is a little bit more of the critique that I'd like to see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Mikel Arteta will fail at Arsenal, but if he does fail at Arsenal, I wouldn't be surprised if, and again, it's not about Ødegaard, it's an insistence on Ødegaard in this version of this team doing this role was a big part of it. I find it bizarre. I really do find it bizarre that we can't move him, that we can't adjust his positioning. I find the midfield targets we have who are going to play deeper on the pitch than him weird. I just don't get it. And would I be surprised if that was a big part of a failure that I don't think is going to happen? No. Sooty FC says, we love the show. Great stuff, boys. David and Andy. Thanks, David and Andy. Very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. I think we had another super chat, did we not? There was another thing I wanted to come to. There was something else. Any comments stick out to you?
I mean, really quickly, we can go to Trossard or Mikel, striker versus Madrid. Look, I thought Trossard was okay, but we need that reference. I think what you did see in the first half, for as much as we played really well, the one thing we missed was that central reference to go over the top, right? And regardless, I think Mikel Merino does a better job than that of Trossard, and we're going to have periods, by the way, with Madrid coming on to you. What's going to be really important is having a platform to transition. So it's going to be, I need to go through one player and out another very quickly is going to be the issues here. And I think Trossard receiving the ball from deep coming back to goal is something that he struggles with as a pass. We've seen how that's gone in general throughout this season, but just we need to have somebody that I think is a little bit more secure, or at least can win 80 to 90% of their aerial duels. Yeah. And yeah.
Whole Milk says, Tierney thoughts, and could he come on at Madrid? I actually thought Tierney was the thing with Tierney, like the idea of Kieran Tierney and the execution of Kieran Tierney are two things. The execution of Kieran Tierney, I think, is a little bit off. I think he's physically not quite at the level for this league anymore. I think it could be the injuries, but I also just think the league's just got more physical and he can't maybe necessarily, isn't adaptable enough in terms of his all-round play to deal with that. But the idea of Tierney, the running on that side, is something I think we both share, is really nice. He was a really nice outlet as well for both David Raya and some balls from the back. I think if we're persisting with Project Martinelli, I think it's not need, perfect need, but a almost definite need to go and get a left back who can do that. I was talking about him on Saturday Socials, Maxim de Kuiper from Bruges, because I don't think Mikel's going to go and sign like a flying fullback. Like, he's not going to sign a Tierney profile, but someone who can go and do what Tierney was doing today, I think would be really useful.
I want that profile in the squad. I want that flexibility, just like we have at right back, to be able to have somebody that's primed as far as inverting coming inside, as well as primed on the outside. And I want that flexibility at left back. We've got, I caused a real big rife on X, as I normally do, with my Miles post. I don't know if you saw it.
You got into an argument on X?
Oh, mate. Oh, my God. It was one of those. That's not
like you?
No. So as much as we've got Miles playing left back, and I think we should be looking at him to play in midfield more, next year, we at least have somebody that I think we feel secure in being an inverted option, right? And it would be nice to have an overlapping left back presence. But I think with the whole Kieran Tierney, it was weird. It's almost, you could tell he hasn't played in a while. The two offsides, are kind of a testament to that. But I do maintain he does create threat, mate. Like even the offside goal, every cameo he's been on, he's created a big chance, either through a cross or a smart pass. He is in doses, though, and I will say this. I think he'll be brilliant as a cameo if things aren't going our way and we need to hug the touchline a little bit, stick him on. And that is something that, he can do. But I don't know if I'm looking at him for like a 90-minute shift or a 60-minute shift in general.
So you're saying we need another 5 left backs, says Milo.
Milo's got it. I mean, I've been trying to tell you this.
7. Do you know what I will finish with is this. We have a guy in our academy who was rested against Brentford at 18 years old because he played so well against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals of the Champions League that we need him fresh for the Bernabeu.
Mate.
He was in the group along with like Saka, Marino, Ødegaard, Timber. He's in that group.
Yeah. Yeah. Oddly, it's probably because like our rotational defenders are all on the left. So it's like we actually have space to do that. But I agree with you. It's just what he's doing. We're going to have a discussion. We will have a discussion on my son. He's just incredible, mate. I'll be honest. For as much as I like him, I did not predict this. No. This I didn't predict. I thought he would get in the team. That I thought for sure. As far as being important enough to rest in the second leg of a quarterfinal, we're talking that Miles is one of the first names on the team sheet. Like next season, Miles has to play. Even if people are informed, like, Mikel is picking Miles as one of those people that will start. And that to me is absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I wanted to see it this season, but to actually do it are two different things. And then to do it in like your first Champions League campaign, different level, mate. Different level.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Whole Milk says, George, do you have custody of Miles?
No.
Marcia, he's coming for you. He's coming for you. Listen, on these incredibly boring, mundane final Premier League days as we just wait for Liverpool to pick up the title, it is a joy that you still choose to spend your time with us on the Instant Reaction. So thank you so much for being here. Arsenal will be back in the league, and we are back in the Champions League on Wednesday, and we're very excited for that. I will be there for the Instant Reaction, unless I get a last-minute ticket to Spain. Or Mikel wants me to play left wing. Up to him. So yes, we're very excited for that. We're very much looking forward to that. We have a new series coming tomorrow, debate show on the Cannon podcast. So look out for that. Called the Cannon Club. We'll have a main pod on Monday. All that good stuff. George is going to be away for a couple of weeks in a while.
I am. Sorry, guys, but I am defending my PhD finally at the end of the month on April 29th. So I will still be here a little bit next week, I believe. But the week after, I'm going to take time to go into my hole and hopefully come back to you guys a full PhD. So
how dare you have other interests outside of Arsenal? Outside of the Cannon podcast. It's crazy. George defending like MLS.
Oh, mate.
Wish you lots of luck, because I'm sure many people do.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for being here. Thank you, George.
Thank you, good sir.
Thank you so much for watching, even on days like this. And thanks for keeping it Arsenal.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.